Hello, I'll be going through the two-handed weapon changes that recently took place on the 18th of September. I was initially working to create a video focusing on resistance and status effects, but this change piqued my attention more. The patch notes are kind of accurate for once. At first glance, it seems to be just a simple attack power change. Equipping a two-handed weapon doubles the amount of attack you get from blessings. For instance, if you have 200 from blessings on equipment, equipping a two-handed weapon will double that to 400. However, things are different when you enter actual combat. Burkanan has 417 attack power along with Way of the Warrior level 1. My MC has 419 attack power along with Way of the Warrior level 2. Ignoring surety hits, both are doing about 420 damage with their basic attacks. However, when they switch to level 1 heavy attack, Burkanan is doing 638 damage, while my MC is doing 370 damage. Something has drastically changed with how skill damage is calculated when a two-handed weapon is equipped, since she is doing 70% more damage despite having nearly the same attack power. A basic recap if you have not watched my healing calculation video. Every spell and ability in the game has a fixed constant and a stat power coefficient. In the case of healing spells, the stat is divine power, and in the case of physical abilities like heavy attack, the stat is attack power. Let's just ignore samurais for now. A lower coefficient is used when the stat power is less than the ability's lower bound, and a lower coefficient is also used if the stat power is higher than the spell's upper bound. Unlike healing spells, damage abilities are further affected by buffs, passives, and most importantly, defense. Damage abilities also have a variance. To simplify my investigation, I'm making a few assumptions. 1. Defense is calculated before damage amplification or reduction. 2. I am treating all damage constants as 0. At low stat power, the damage constant is a bigger part of the total damage, and at higher power, it forms a smaller part. 3. I'm ignoring damage variance. This should offset some of the difference from treating damage constant as 0. Let's put all this in practice. As seen on screen, my MC hit the red spinner woman with a basic attack for 416 damage with 419 attack. Way of the Warrior level 2 has been tested to be a 1.09 modifier, and Way of the Warrior level 1 is 1.08. 416 divided by 1.09 equals 382 damage after defense reduction. Basic attacks calculation is simple. It is just attack power minus defense divided by 2. Since my MC has 419 attack, 419 minus 382 equals 38 damage reduced by defense. 38 reduction multiplied by 2 equals 76. So, the red spinner woman should have at least 76 defense. Repeat these enough times and the consensus in the Taiwan and Japanese community is that she has around 84 to 90 defense. For my calculations, I'm taking a number in the middle, so I'm assuming her defense to be 86. For anyone paying attention, the sealed greater demon has around 400 defense, and his Mackle 2 adds another 480 or so for a total of around 880 defense. Based off the previous works of Su Ra Lone and Cru Sig, this is what I had calculated out in terms of coefficients for heavy attack and full power strike. Example 1. Heavy attack 1 with 419 attack power and Way of the Warrior level 2. Attack power coefficient of heavy attack 1 is 1.5, with an upper bound of 100. Damage shown on screen are 370 and 384. Calculation matches in-game damage. Example 2. Heavy attack 3 with 419 attack power and Way of the Warrior level 2. Damage shown on screen are 528, 537, and 552. Power coefficient of heavy attack 3 is 1.75, with an upper bound of 200. Calculation matches in-game damage. Example 3. Heavy attack 5 with 292 attack power and Way of the Warrior level 2. Damage shown on screen are 613 and 570. Attack power coefficient of heavy attack 5 is 2, with with an upper bound of 300. Calculation matches in-game damage. Example 4, Heavy Attack 7 with 419 attack power and Way of the Warrior level 2. Damage shown on screen are 943, 962 and 942. Attack power coefficient of Heavy Attack 7 is 2.2, with an upper bound of 500. Calculation matches in-game damage. Now that we have a baseline for calculating one-handed weapons, we can start to investigate the changes to two-handed weapons. The first major difference is the upper bound of attacking with a two-handed weapon is 3 times that of a one-handed weapon. Take, for example, level 1 heavy attack. The upper bound is only 100 attack. I think it is common knowledge that past 300 attack, basic attack does more damage than level 1 heavy attack. The only reason to use heavy attack 1 is for the accuracy bonus. Level 1 heavy attack with a two-handed weapon, however, has an upper bound of 300. In addition to that, two-handed weapon also uses a higher coefficient. One-handed, level 1 heavy attack is 1.5, two-handed, level 1 heavy attack is 1.8. Basically, the coefficient gets multiplied by 1.2 when you equip a two-handed weapon. The higher coefficient and upper bound with a two-handed means you need around 2,800 attack power before normal attack outdamages level 1 heavy attack. Shown now are the coefficients that I have calculated for both one-handed and two-handed. Huge disclaimer, this is still a work in progress, but I believe that most of them should be right. Feel free to leave a comment if you see any values that are drastically off. Precision strike and other skills should scale in a similar manner as heavy attack. Special thanks to Daphne for their tests and calculations on the Wizardry variants Daphne forum at gamer.com.tw. A spreadsheet with damage calculations and several links used as references for this video can be found in the description below. To summarize, equipping a two-handed now does the following. 1. You lose 4 blessing slots for not equipping an offhand, but your attack power gained from other slots are doubled. 2. You get a 1.2x bonus to your abilities coefficient. 3. The upper bound of your abilities gets tripled. I personally think that the pendulum has swung way too hard to the other direction. Two-handed weapons are a good bit better than one-handed weapons now. The damage increase over a one-handed is at least 20% just from the increased skill coefficient. The damage increase can potentially go 60% if you factor in the double attack and increased upper bound. Considering that surety evasion and high defense are commonplace in endgame situation, two-handed weapons are going to pull ahead even more when Abyss 4 is released, since the new two-handed weapons are supposed to come with higher blessing values. Classes like thieves, ninjas, and to a certain extent, samurais are going to have scaling issues unless they revise the upper bound of one-handed weapons or add in new skills. Ninjas and samurai also have weapon availability issues due to lack of drop rates and weapon variety. Other classes that are not fighters are also heavily depend on codices to raise their skill level. Perhaps they should just rename the game to Fightery Variants Scooby.